Well, so I guess I'll just say a couple things here to motivate it for the recording. This is a ESIP Discovery Cluster April 16th meeting, 2026. And we invited Mingfang Wu to present to us a recently published paper on bridging the data discovery gap, and which that working group just presented at the last RDA meeting. So this is to catch some of us up who weren't able to attend, and also to encourage it. I'm really looking forward to this paper as being kind of the recommendations it has to guide the ESIP discovery cluster and our focus moving forward. Um, so thanks for putting this together for us and presenting. I'll kick it off to you.
Yep, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for having me. I'm working for Australia Research Data Commons as a product manager, one of our national data catalog. Before that, I was research scientist specialized information retriever. So search engine, I'll make search engine work with users. So let's get on to this talk. So I will give a brief introduction of this Research Data Alliance Data Discovery Paradigms Interest Group. That's how we work together on this paper and other recommendations along the data discovery. I will provide an overview of this paper. The paper is like 17 pages long, small font, so I try to squeeze that in this like 20-ish minutes presentation. And then I will have a little bit of discussion with you about AI-driven data discovery paradigm shift. Okay, so the interest group. So the interest group's the motivation is to focus on data discovery. The FAIR principle and lay the foundation, especially the F as a first letter in FAIR, talking about fundability. We assign DOIs at enrichment data and register metadata and data in an indexable search resource. But we have to ask ourselves, is that enough for our user? So we distinguishing fundability and discoverability. Fundability is a catalog view or technical ways to identify an item. Like you have something in your house, you don't know where is it, you're trying to find it. But this discoverability is more from the user-centric point of view. So if we have a data described with identify rich metadata, even with like a technical improbable with interoperable with JSON LD, but does that content have the word or index in a way that can match users' specific queries, or even the intention behind the query? Is the discovery interface user-friendly? Like, assist the user in a friendly way to find to discover data set more efficient and effectively. So that's um, so so that's the motivation for us to address this complex issue of data discovery. So in this data discovery ecosystem, we still, we have a metadata record that's registered with catalog. We have data discovery service as intermediary between users and the content, but the user bring lots of context coming into system. I will talk a little bit more in a second. But above all, we run this discover system not in crucial system. This system in data discovery service have to operate in the wider research ecosystem and to fit with researchers' own research workflow. So to address this data discovery issue, so we formed the data discovery paradigms interest group. We have two simple objectives. So first is to want to create a forum for representative across spectrum of stakeholders and to explore our shared issue. We all face the same issue, so we can come together and discuss how to improve data discovery. And meanwhile, we produce actionable recommendations for all stakeholders, for data producer, even for researchers who seek for data, and also for data repositories and catalogs. So the group started actually 10 years ago. It's been 10 years now. Started in 2016. The way we organize the interest group at a as a member, will nominate the topics they are that interest to them. If we have expertise in that team, we then organize a task force. So at a time, we always have common goal to achieve. So here is a list of task forces we had along the way. So each task force may produce recommendations, output. So for example, the use case prototyping core and test collection, we collected close to 80 use cases that from researchers, mostly from researchers. And based on that, then we made a recommendation about, what the repositories discovery interface, what features, what function should provide, and also about usability issues as well. And the 11 quick tips for finding researchers that's targeted to researchers. We often say discovery is not just two words of keywords, there are lots of skills. So we provide tips for researchers to assist them to strategically looking for data. And also we did a survey to look at how data repository or catalog implement that search system, search function, how well that they serve their users. So about a little bit over 100 repositories participate in a survey. I want to point out that I think a little bit over 40% of repositories regard their surveys can serve their user, but among that 40%, only like 20% did a kind of user experience testing. So yeah. Then we have a user study user study of discovery task force. The task force has the information scientists, data scientists, and also managers of data repositories, data catalog. So we drew from their research and a practical experience, and the information scientists did a large scale survey where the pain point of user find the data. So based on that, we had 10 principles to improve data discoverability. And the paper I'm going to introduce soon actually is more condensed version of that 10 principles to to in order to fit the paper style. So the 10 principles itself and that report as RDA output report has more examples. Yeah. Okay. So that's the background of the interest group. So now I'm going to provide overview of this paper, Bridging the Data Discovery Gap from user-centered recommendation for research data repositories. The paper is a joint effort of many co-authors, members um, uh, of the interest group. Okay. So so the so we started by looking at the user research data discovery process. This is an iterative process. We map them into 5 stages. Looks linear on this graph, but each later stage can lead to the previous stages. So this process from user have a need to find data sets that user need to able to articulate that need and transfer that into query, and then search for pick a data repositories or catalog and search for data. Here we're talking about search for data for the secondary use, and then user have to sift through a long list of potentially relevant data set, evaluate those data set based on the metadata record. Then if they find a suitable data set, then they go to access and then reuse the data. And there are frictions along each stage. The frictions or like the mismatch between user's query and the what be indexed. User may not know the language, of that searched area, and then put a lot of effort to navigate and navigate the search results. And very often we have low quality, incomplete metadata. That's not helping for user to make relevant assessments. And when come to the use of the data, usually have a poor documentation that prevents the users to integrate that data with their own data set. So all these frictions create the gaps for the data discovery. So to address those gaps, we make some recommendations. We initially, as I said earlier, we have a 10 principle, 10 recommendations, but we summarize that into four core recommendations. So, first one is user-centric design, and that guide the other three recommendations. Um, that including leverage our discovery system with external research ecosystem, provide high quality metadata, and provide a flexible search and a user-friendly interface. Okay, we can go to each recommendations a bit. So first one is user-centric design. We need to know who your user, what their need, and how they search. Um, and uh, so in my earlier slides, I talked about the user, come to search with lots of context. So we have to ask who are they? Are they familiar with the discovery system we provide? And how familiar with the discipline or subject areas they are searching for? And why they search for data. Do they have a specific data requirement? That's then when they doing relevance assessment, they would apply those criteria, and and also what they intended use for. So for that data, that all impact how they look at the data and and how they go about their search. How do they typically find the data? For uh, are they use the interactive features or use APIs? So when we interview researchers, we find that researchers apply a wide range of search strategies to discover data, from keywords to very comprehensive, like half-page Boolean queries they send to resources regularly to look if there are new data. Yeah. Okay, so how do we know about the user? So there are a range of methods we could apply, from survey, interview, interaction log analysis, A/B testing to observation. Some are very with low cost, like a survey. You can have a form, put your question, and ask people to fill in, and some are very labor intensive, like interviews, observation. That's very time consuming. And also, like a survey can provide a quantitative and a um, qualitative response at a larger scale, but you can only interview, observe so few people, and with a qualitative one. But they provide deep insight about interactions and surveys. Yes, Jonathan?
I I just wanted to interject. There's a intermediate form of it's called focus groups, where you gather.
Yes.
The surveys are more structured to a large group. Focus groups give you qualitative information. It's maybe more along the lines of their observation column here. So
Yeah.
you're
So
getting like anecdotal evidence
yeah,
to
you you
inform you.
quite you quite right. So when I interviews, not necessarily just a one-to-one, could be one to a group, like a focus group. Then yeah, you talk because one-to-one people probably that interviews may struggle to think of come out any response. But if you have a group, they can stimulate each other and give Yeah. So you are quite right. Here are just a few typical method, but there are many much more method there. We put this method in the paper because we can point to relevant research that they apply this method to in by data repositories to get their no user, not just someone did a research, but in practical terms that those has been used, and also what they have found about their user. So yeah, well, you have to, there are so many methods to choose from, and depends on the stages of the development that discovery system. You may apply different method and also costs. Apply each cost in-house resources. For example, at the conceptualization stage, you may use a survey into first focus group, but when the system have kind of prototype and then have MVP or uh, um, operating online, then you can apply more methods or combination of methods. For example, when you have a prototype or system there, you can apply A/B testing. You can observe what the user did. And then you have a log of what user did. You can analyze those. Yeah. So use a combination of this method, you can know what user did and also how and why they are doing that. So the second recommendation is about leveraging with external ecosystem. So many research and they interview or survey the researchers about where they find the go to find data set. Data repository are not necessarily on the top. Usually the web, Google search, recommendation from peers, and follow literatures are at the top methods. Those researchers have been applied. So we need to bridge our repository with these external systems. We can register our repositories with repository register, and also add a structured metadata in our metadata landing page, apply the search engine optimization best practice. I think you have Science on Schema cluster. They provide good recommendation along that recommendations. And for research community, we can go to conference, organize data hackathon to make these researchers know your repository, what data range you're having. Usually junior researchers looking for senior researchers where to find the data. So if you make your repository known to the research community, maybe that's their first go-to discovery instead of sifting through the web search engines. And also researchers read paper a lot. If we and make the data citation easier for researchers to add data into their paper, then that make it easier for other researchers to read the paper to follow that. So that's probably there are more ecosystem we needed to connect to. But here are those top venues researchers go to find the data. And the third recommendation is more about high quality, provide high quality, structured, interoperable, and discoverable metadata. So we need to enhance the coverage and the interoperability. So, for example, the Australia Research Data Catalog we offer, we have a data heavily toward actually earth science and the marine data, but people often come to search for social science data, for example. So we need to set up a partnership with other data catalog with social data to make their data also discoverable from our catalog. And
Yeah, and since you
also,
brought it up, can I ask
yeah,
about the
yeah,
Australian data catalog? Is
yeah.
this, are you familiar with, in the US, there's data.gov? So that's
Oh,
supposed
yes,
to federate all the metadata across all the
yes, yeah.
agencies, regardless of domain.
Yeah, so data.gov, in US we have data.gov AU. So
Mm.
not just the national wide data.gov AU, but each state of Australia also have their data.gov, like a Victoria. Then they feed each state feed their data into this data.gov AU. Yeah.
But is that distinct from the system you were just talking about?
Oh, yes. So the data.gov, the usually have the data from government agencies. For us, we call it Australia Research Data Catalog. We collect the data from research institutions.
Mm.
And but we also harvest data from data.gov AU because we catalog a data set not just as an outcome from research, but also data can be used for by researchers. So, but these close federation, content federation, all cause issue for users. So user
Mm.
go to catalog for catalog, find similar things. Then they don't know. It's harder to know where the true source of data they should go to. Yeah. So yeah. So
It was just helpful for me to understand the research data catalog versus what we have in the US, where it's being federated at a national level.
yeah. So yeah. You uh for us, like that research catalog also at a national level, but it's very focused on the research. Can be used, the data come from research and can be used for research. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah. And we often talking about support interdisciplinary data discovery and cross-discipline data discovery. So we need to have support broad and specific terms when we describe our data. That probably means we use multiple classifications. We can use general research classifications, but also along the domain-specific vocabularies. Like a medical research, they use the mesh term very often. So in our data portal, we support the research classification and together with the mesh for our health data sub-portal of that catalog. And we also do the vocabulary mappings because each disciplines or even sub-discipline with a broader discipline, they use different terminology. So yeah, we can do the vocabulary mappings to connect disparate terminology. And nowadays, you can use AI tools or set up your AI agent to enrich metadata and do these mappings. You don't necessarily use large language models because that's very costly. You can use small language models that less costly, but same effective. And also data quality implement metadata quality assurance. So that's not you check data quality not just when the metadata in your repository, but in the process people generate metadata. So provide tools and support to make data providers aware what metadata should collect because they want their data be reusable. And then when data in metadata in the repository also apply um, the quality insurance checking. And we also talking about the describe data at a granular level to support a broad range of data discovery. So this probably even more so for those time series data. You have a collection. Usually we describe data at an item level, the item level, but so for people in that disciplines, they usually use variable names to search for data set. So repositories should attach data dictionaries or variables to support that interdisciplinary search. But all these item levels should be use structured use vocabulary like to connect each other because this will help you find a group of record that describe the same type of data, and later on we're talking about declutter user interface that can help to use this kind of vocabulary can help machine to understand the relationship between data items and collections and then group them together when you present search results. So then that's lead to the support of flexible search and user-friendly interface. So we had a paper actually that's a few years back. We need to recheck if those recommendations are still valid. But that paper provides more detailed recommendation about discovery functions, user interface. Here we just point on some things we probably omit in that paper. So to support more pathways for people to find the data. For example, you can provide a few search options along the keyword. You can support the complex building queries, more structured way to support advanced queries. And those filters help users to navigate. And for time series geographic data, probably you can apply the map-based interface. And also we can use the semantics, those vocabularies we talking about before. Then we can use those vocabularies to expand the query terms with cinemas to assist the user they don't know the area to construct effective queries. And and now there is an option to the integrate AI and a large language large language model to have a natural language interactions. When we had the groups plenary session, and a few groups are talking about they are trying the retrieval augmented generation. That's essentially to reduce large language models hallucination and make the AI tools more focused on the discovery of things from your repository. Here is give an example how we uh, um, could support semantic terminology that expand on user query if user send a bay. So that's probably most likely to miss large percentage of relevant data set. But if we either, expand the query automatically or suggest these terms to users or as a filters that can help user to search. And also, one of top usability issues is duplication and duplication and or parallel record. When that's where I talked about earlier. If you um, uh, uh, have a metadata record of the same data uh, of different versions, but metadata record looks like the similar. You don't want to your first page of search result with all this, then users have to figure out. But instead, you can provide an overview, summarize user relationship to group them, and then display them as one search entry, and let user help user to group and understand them. So that's a brief introduction of the four recommendations. Basically, we want to shift the um, mindset from the we publishing data, share data that's from supply side of discovery to empower users to search for or discover for data. And the high quality metadata and the effective discovery search terms are the bridge we connect the users with those content. And this discovery is never like you implement it and keep add data in, then set stone that the constantly evolving. So we need to constantly periodically doing getting user feedback. Hence your user group change it and what their ways of find the data. So we can move beyond from simply making data available to generally make it discoverable. So that's about recommendations. So you can see the recommendations still along the traditional paradigm of discovery, that kind of traditional library model. We search, then we sift through the lists. And then user click, read, and access. So we is a library model, but we forgot that in early days when we go to library to search for books, we talk to library understand what we context why we need a certain book, then they can construct their query effectively, find deliver what you want. And we don't have those kind of library side of conversation side of flavor in our system. So, but we make a system more accessible for users, but less effective for users to find one. And now we come with these AI-powered discovery tools. For example, if I want to find an atmospheric data set with greenhouse gas concentration and emission estimate, so you can just send this question to AI tools, then it uh, goes to looking for resources, synthesize them and categorize them by user cases. Um, yeah, so reduce a lot of cognitive overload for users to sift through the data. And what is the difference between traditional and AI? So about the way you interact with the same system, AI is more natural language. Um, it can synthesize answer. It uses the semantic interpretations because use 10 millions of parameters to semantic connect to enable to do that. So it changes the user role from the uh, evaluators of search result to assist the user to make decisions which dataset to use. Um, and of course, yeah, it's the cognitive load from very high with the traditional ways to reduce that overload, but more shift to how you trust the um, output from AI tools. And of course, these AI tools bring the challenges. So it's bypass the portals. Where portals is intermediation between user and our content. Now it's replaced our portals if user use AI tools. It's a shift from search to reasoning, and uh, and if metadata is inconsistent and shallow, it may not um, you know, pick up or generate hallucination by AI tools. And also in AI output, it lacks of relations between entity in repository. We display that where. So we know the provenance and relationship item collected by whom and which software or how it's collected, that kind of context, lost that context. Um, but also, even you find data in with AI tools, how do you access um, uh, and the governance, the responsible use of that data. But that's the issue, not just for AI, is for our traditional repository as well. And the transparency of AI output is also issue, how AI worked in its way to recommend those dataset to you. We have a bit understanding of search engines, but how AI recommends those, that's black box to us. So regardless of these challenges, the users still come to search for data from repositories. We need to provide an effective user interface for users to search for data. But meanwhile, it's more important for repository to position ourselves as a trusted metadata providers that can power AI system, and also we when AI system do direct users to our repository, we can provide provenance, traceability, and expandability of the data we describe. So our repository probably becomes more like a knowledge structure, knowledge base for the AI tools. There are still many unknowns in AI data discovery paradigm, so we need to understand what problem in data discovery we're trying to solve with AI. Does AI drive for recall, precision, usability, or trust? And what does the traditional keyword search for what search task, the traditional keyword search still outperform AI-based discovery. And so how user experience different between two systems. Um, and how does AI discover mean in practice? Is the semantic search, is agent, or something else? How about bias and validation? How can we demonstrate AI-driven data discovery don't bias the results? And when I try out that query, that question before, I noticed that AI just recommend the top repositories from US agencies. But how about I want to data set, of that data size in each location globally? How do we coming up a prompt and instruct AI tools to do that? And also, the prompting is a new skill. So even we implement RAG, conversational search, should we teach our researchers or users to use prompt effectively. So there are many unknown, many questions, unknown answers. That's kind of questions our interest group want to pursue and discuss in from now on in next year or so. And hopefully we set up a task force to explore, like pick questions to explore. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. That's my presentation.
Yeah, thanks very much. It was very comprehensive, and thanks for taking the time to go through all the recommendations. So I saw clapping from someone else on the call. Is there any questions? Do you want to come on the microphone and ask your questions? So I see Sarah's hand.
There.
Sarah just beat Peng by a second.
Oh, sorry, Peng.
No, I
Yeah,
was
thank you so
waiting
much.
for you to start.
I mean, this is probably not a really quick question, but one thing that I've been thinking of and that you asked in the slides, which were great. Thank you so much for sharing. Like, how do repositories position themselves as trusted metadata and data providers to the AI systems out there? And in a way, I guess that doesn't lead to the bias that you also were speaking of. Is that a known thing yet, or is that something we're still figuring out?
I don't think that's a figured out. I was talking to my co-chairs of the group the other day. I think how, um, how, what metadata have been used by those AI tools, it's unknown to us. So when I put that query into AI tools or ChatGPT, I also said, oh, I want to know if there are other metadata be indexed by the AI or many used by AI tools. So I went further, say, uh, add more and more attribute into my questions. Say I also want the data in CSV ready for downloading. Actually, it reminded me that I give you the the data set CSV ready, but you need to be aware, some will say, most of those data set in NetCDF, so so actually, so it gives you summarize what the variables, and so it index lots of attribute, make use of lots of attribute. So then I go further, then say, I don't want to, this is my recall question. I don't want to know just a few, but I want to all data set. Then it reasoning with me said, you have you have a kind of you already set a boundary what your data you want. So because not all data set in CSV that contradict to my requirements. And also I asked to say, what criteria do you choose this data set? How do you do the ranking? It gave me, tier one, tier two, tier three criteria. Then that's how they score. Than this. So there is no no publication in about what how they actually use what they use, how they actually use. So that's hardest the thing for us to make a concrete, to make recommendations to repositories say, because the AI uses attribute, that attribute, that attribute, and our user want to know this one, then you should provide those. It's we don't have evidence to back up that kind of claim. So yeah, it's still unknown.
Yeah, that unfortunately makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really good context, though. I hadn't even thought about some of that. So thank you. Yeah.
Peng, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ming, for the excellent presentation. It's really helpful. I do feel like I need to go back to read the paper a little bit more. I'm going to ask you a different question since you're talking about the paradigm shift. If I have time, I'm actually going to ask you two. Oh, we're out of time. Let me just ask one. So I remember a lot of the US agencies like 10, 15 years ago, they struggled with this question about, knowing your users and how to help them, et cetera, in their designs. So they gone through this process. But now, recent years, we're in this new age that they have to serve data for the whole spectrum of data users. So it's not so much about using your users anymore, it's about everybody. So how do you balance the requirements and needs from the power users? Obviously, they want to be more automated and more interoperable than the users who hardly have any knowledge about the system, how to use it. The it how I guess the how do you balance this kind of
Yeah.
needs from both end of the spectrum? It's not in the middle. Like we can probably address the need for like 80% in the middle, but on both end, how would you, like, can you elaborate a little bit on how would you do to address those? Because now the law requires us to serve everybody, make data accessible for
Well,
everyone.
you serve everybody, probably you serve nobody. Um, uh, and then I guess you should have your primary groups of user you want to serve. For us, research as a primary, but we don't say exclude other users from government agencies and from public. So we primarily talk to the researchers to what is a primary research task? Find one data set, find all data set, or what find the latest data set. So we need to understand this. But also we also have a survey and a feedback form from our platform to get the feedback from all users. So whenever they can submit queries, say, I lots of users come out to our portal want to find the family history. So, so in that, if there are more such questions coming, and we don't support that, probably in future we could implement like a chatbot, direct them to special database to search for that kind of data. And also, they also submit, say, pain point. So, say, and this metadata record is wrong, that feedback to us. So I guess the what how we deal with that is we identify a few key groups that we funded to, that we have to serve them and serve them well. But we also make the repository more friendly to make it easier for whoever they come to search.
And I want to get in on this question as well because it strikes at the heart of especially with this AI chatbot question. Is it really going to enable someone without any domain knowledge to find the data that they're looking for? Um, that's something we need to test. But
Mm.
the I heard a podcast yesterday on PBS News. It's called The Daily, where they were interviewing. This is in the popular media now. They're talking about AI and how it's changing society, and they use the example of a concrete business. They have $50 million of concrete pouring a year, but they have always operated like on a spreadsheet basis for all their accounting. But the AI is transforming that because now they can afford to develop software because the AI lowers the bar. You still need an engineer, a software developer, but it kind of democratizes in the sense that now those tools that were really only available to larger companies, it allows everybody to take advantage of the technology that's been available for a long time, actually. So, and then now they can do their accounting in a much more modern way, and it'd be much less administrative time. So they're going to save money. And so, in much the same way, I think it'll make science much more accessible to a large uh, range of organizations. They're still going to need to hire a scientist, but that scientist is going to be a lot more productive, and they're going to be able to do things that used to take a research team to do. Now they can do the analysis on their own with help from an AI chatbot.
Yeah, so like AI, if you embed AI tools, you can set up a context, say, I'm scientist, I'm looking for this data, then it gives you more like a scientific authorized source, that data. But if you say, I'm layman users, I just want to check, what's average rainfall of my state, it may I checked the other day. It's just point to give me a answer, then point to my local bureau meteorology, and say you can go there looking for more information. So yeah, so this I guess that's how AI is good at is can under if you tell it your context, it can tailor the answer to your context. While in search-based, regardless of user background, if you send the same query B, regardless of who you are, we deliver the same search result. So yeah.
I have a lot more I'd like to discuss, but I recognize we're 5 minutes after the hour. I want to just ask if anybody has a hard stop and we can just close the meeting, or we can keep it open for a few minutes longer.
I'm okay with few minutes longer if you're willing to stay. Sometimes
Okay.
the ESIP
There,
staff will have to close the meeting because somebody else
there's
is,
another team, right? It
yeah.
seems not to have happened yet, so we're good.
Okay.
It's the end of the day for us. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so I think that at the core, like we're with how AI is going to change discovery, I think the root logic for data discovery has been established. But what's the AI will do is allow people take advantage of this and
Mm.
do it without really having kind of an expertise in how to build search portals or tools. So you could imagine, say, like a, a scientist sitting in a local office, like a government office, say, I need uh, a user interface that will display the latest weather data and provide this for this upcoming weekend when we expect there to be a storm. So they can produce this very timely, relevant product that used to take a team of scientists or data scientists at least, probably months to do. They can turn around and do it with the help of AI. And but at the core of it, I think the logic is baked in, and that's how the AI will still get its work done, is by leveraging those established systems of logic that are open, openly accessible on the, they can harvest it or have been brought into the AI model. And it shortens it makes a short circuit for the person to be able to leverage that expertise.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
The Jonathan, do you feel like the person had to ask the right question in terms of utilize AI and AI
Mm,
driven? Because I read a article I thought was very useful, and they basically saying AI is going to help people, but it's going to help people who knows who can ask the right question, know the right question to ask than people who just ask. I
yeah.
wonder
You
whether you
definitely
have
need to
noted
know what your
Yeah.
question is,
what
Yeah.
you're trying to
but
get. It's almost
you
like you have
you
to,
might not have to know how to answer it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those are two
So
different things.
yeah, so definitely, so that's how the prompt engineering come into. So, that's also skill. You just ask a question, but provide a context. Uh, why you ask these questions, then give the AI specific task instruction what you want them to do. Just ask your questions, give you answer, or provide resources enable you to answer question. So the lots of skills get into the prompt. So if you just ask questions, but probably you engage in several conversations, if AI does not understand what you ask it to do, no specific task, it engage you into conversations like you go to library, talk to library, they ask you the questions, what exactly, and then narrow down to exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the web search as well. If information like a scientist, they know how this search engine works, so they can type, point like a keyword or ways strategically or even narrow down to their search to specific site. So they get a more relevant response from web search engines. But when they don't get any relevant ones, they have a confidence that probably that content does not exist. But for layman users, they just frustrate this search engine is rubbish. You know,
True. Yeah.
so that's I forgot to mention when user come to your system, some have a mental models of how your system works, some don't. So uh, we don't have that conversation to guide them. So user have to learn from initial search results, then gradually to construct more effective queries.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Well, I definitely feel like the AI model has improved over the years. Especially, I like the one you mentioned. They can communicate with you and to improve what you're trying to get, whether it's search result, whether you're trying to um, creating something. And it's I think its conversation sections become a trained opportunity for them to train that particular model. Like for the ESIP data stewardship committee report, I have one session, and over time now it actually tell me I can draft something for your report. I thought that was interesting. In a way, it's like
yeah.
I'm training that particular instance for my own purpose. And over time, it knows my style, it knows my question, and based on my question, it's become a lot more intelligent than if I just start a new session.
How do I
Yeah.
get one of these? Is this
I just chat GPT and I'm using
oh,
free session.
cool. And it
Oh,
remembers you.
It does. What I do is I try to have a separate sessions if I'm asking question related to certain topic. I go to that particular instance, ask question there. And
Okay.
it saves, it archives, and every time it opens and has that there, it does seems to help to have those connections.
so yes. Like my workplace, we subscribe to Gemini Pro. So definitely is more powerful than free version.
Yeah,
Uh, so for your routine work, you can set up your gem
yeah.
and create a template. It's
Ah,
like an agent that
right.
can, yeah. So you can you can provide its resources, say, point to website, say, for this task, you go to or either my email box to do what, or go to I monitor this website. You regularly run that gem, then give you the latest the information come from that. And also, I'm not sure if you have tried Google's notebook LAM. That's also very good research tools.
Oh,
Um,
I haven't tried
yeah,
that one.
so it's very I if you have I can show you.
Yeah, I've been using ChatGPT, and my son, he works for Google, so he kind of like it's Gemini. So I'm starting to. NASA has Copilot, so I use that when I generate the image.
For example, this notebook,
Uh-huh.
last 2 weeks, I do lots of metadata. I want to decide a metadata profile for our this new developer portal for called Health Data Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So I put a lot of those schemas into that. I use uh, the this one health here's DCAT as a baseline to map
Hmm.
all other schemas too. So I can ask, say, um, I can ask, this notebook to do the mapping, to do the initial mapping this schema property to that
Hmm.
one. It give me all these mappings,
That's
and
cool.
then I check each of them to make sure it got right. But
Hmm.
and also yeah, the special version to that. But I also don't understand in some schemas the concept is in OMOP that use the um, a list of their own standard
Domains.
vocabularies. I give
Okay.
the context, say,
Hmm.
then I ask questions, say, what property in this DCAT I could map this kind of concept to. So
Right.
it gave me an explanation. What does um, what can map to an explanation.
Hmm.
What does the health thing means and the keyword means their difference. Um, and yeah, so I
Well,
found
this is
that
so cool. Is this a
yeah.
part of the Google Gemini Pro? Or this is a free version?
No, 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 no. It's a free tool.
Okay.
But this Pro is more powerful. I'm not sure um let me see if this one this is
My
my
Copilot also has a notebook, but I haven't
Yeah.
used it like that.
Okay.
so uh so I'm doing the plenary report. So before I just pull this manually, go to each collaborative notes to
Good.
copy and paste those
Right.
information. But now
Right.
I can ask them, give them instructions
Hmm.
to what the column of that collaborative note
Yeah.
I want
Well,
to
the
extract. It's for the it's also have this, but probably the
well, that
difference
looks like a
between
studio. You probably part of the pro. I don't.
yeah,
I.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm just to mention. The Pro has a studio as for each of Google, like a Google Doc, Google Slides,
Yeah.
and but it has you can have a limited prompt to give per day for your personal account, if not Pro. For the
Yeah.
Pro,
Yeah.
probably we have unlimited, depends.
True.
Probably, yeah. But lots of these tools I can use,
That's nice. Well, like
Yes.
for the ChatGPT free version, I can usually do the like if I want just to refine my sentence, that's fine. I don't have problem. But if I want to do analysis or if I ask to create a image and I normally can only have three, then they would tell me you either update it to plus or you wait for
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So that's you have a limitation on, and also that a limitation just not just how many prompt you put into, and also how many words you put into that prompt. So many like members in our last meeting said they tried RAG, but
yeah.
that if you try RAG, that you embed in your discovery system and need to aware of the cost. It also costs a lot
Mm,
because if you retrieve the top 10 from a query from a prompt, then embedding the content of the top 10 metadata into the prompt, that basically you increased your token multiple times
mm.
and then cost a lot.
Yeah.
People just don't think about that. But yeah, so in the end, you got a big beers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, thank you so much. It's always fun talking with you. And thanks, Jonathan. I'm glad that you invited me for the talk.
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I wish there were more people who were joining the Discovery cluster, but this is actually how it's been for the past year or so.
It
So,
has been challenged, I think, across ESIP since last year. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to use this to help steer the team. I think your um, presentation was great. All of the recommendations, I think I'd like to follow that structure and organize more talks around those topics. So if you want to collaborate on any of those, either through the RDA group or wherever, I think there's more opportunity for ESIP and, well, for us to work together through ESIP or RDA.
Yes, that's definitely we want more people to join, to either use Rust or our DDP. That's more people join the conversations, the better. Yeah.
Right, and I think right now it's a very good time for us in the US to be reaching internationally, to kind of engage because the availability interest to be addressing these highly technical topics is tailing off for US staff. So we can
Mm,
stay engaged by going to the international level and stay,
yeah.
with the latest, greatest of information.
Yeah, even for our group, we now very heavily European or most member are Europeans. Those task force we had before, actually we had like a Sri Yoda. Do you know Sri Yoda?
Yeah.
He retired.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I think he's still consultant every so often, but yeah, he's actually lives in Europe now.
It's he
oh
the
yeah,
NS,
because
he was
he,
at the
he
NSIDC.
He
yeah.
was, yeah,
Okay,
He
I
yeah.
know.
was, yeah. His wife family in Czech Republic, yeah. We had a few actually ESIP members lead those task force and. Yeah, we had Sri Yoda as a co-chair, but now we don't have many European participant, American participant. We usually have our monthly meeting, like my time is like 11 p.m. or 10 p.m. to accommodate US participant because that's early morning,
Yeah.
European midday, but they
Yeah.
don't come. So we say probably we don't need have that meeting that late because even you have a meeting available for them in their time zone and they look like disappeared.
Right, right.
Well, I will
Yeah.
think about this overall problem and how we're going to engage in the future. But thank you so much for putting out the first olive branch and presenting to us, and we'll follow up soon.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.